Imagine two patients, both 75 years old, both walking every single day, yet one lives vibrantly and independently into their late 80s, while the other quietly loses their strength, balance, and confidence in just a few short years. After 33 years as a surgeon, I have seen this exact scenario play out more times than I can count. The difference almost never comes down to luck, genetics, or even motivation. I am talking directly to you right now because you probably walk every morning or evening. Somewhere in the back of your mind, you believe that as long as you keep walking, you are doing everything you are supposed to do for your health. That belief is incredibly common, but after the age of 75, it can be dangerously incomplete. Here is the insight most seniors are never told. Clearly, walking keeps you alive, but it does not keep you strong. The science explains exactly why. Walking is a repetitive, low-demand movement. It barely challenges your balance reactions. It does very little to preserve your leg power. It does not wake up the vital stabilizing muscles around your hips, knees, and spine. Most importantly, it almost completely ignores the nervous system pathways that protect you from falling. After 75, those are the exact bodily systems that decline first. What shocked many doctors, including myself, was a key finding from aging research. When researchers followed older adults into their late 70s, 80s, and 90s, step counts simply did not predict independence. Instead, a small set of specific exercises did. These are exercises that might look simple, almost boring, yet they uniquely protected joints, trained balance reflexes, and kept muscles responsive in ways that walking never could. In this video, we are going to fully reveal and rank 5 surgeon-approved exercises that protect your body better than walking alone after age 75. We will count them down from the least important to the absolutely most critical. You must stay with me until the very end because the exercise at number 2 completely stunned researchers when studies showed it was one of the strongest predictors of staying upright, independent, and pain-free well into advanced age. If you are curious about the medical studies behind this, the research sources are waiting for you in the description below. Before we dive into the countdown, I have a quick question for you. Where are you watching from right now? Please leave your location in the comments. I personally read through them and respond whenever I can. Now, let us start the countdown and discover how you can protect your future. Now, without any further ado, let us start our countdown with number 5. The overlooked exercise most seniors have never been shown, even though it quietly prepares your body for safer, stronger movement every single day. Number 5 is seated marching. Before you dismiss this as too simple or too easy to make any real difference, let me share with you what researchers at the University of Missouri discovered when they studied this movement in detail. Their study, published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity, found that seated marching activates the hip flexor muscles in a way that walking simply cannot match. Here is why that matters so much for anyone over 75. Your hip flexors are the muscles responsible for lifting your legs, and they are absolutely critical for preventing what doctors call shuffling gait. From an educational perspective, understanding this gait is vital. That slow, dragging walk dramatically increases your risk of tripping and falling. The problem with walking is that it only uses about 30% of your hip flexor capacity because your feet never need to lift very high off the ground. Over time, those muscles forget their full capability, and this lack of education on proper movement mechanics leads to steady physical decline. But seated marching forces these muscles to work through their full range of motion, building strength and flexibility that directly translates to safer, more confident walking when you are actually on your feet. Dr. Sarah Chen, an orthopedic surgeon specializing in geriatric care at Johns Hopkins, explains that she has seen patients completely transform their walking pattern within just 3 weeks of adding seated marching to their daily processed routine. Educating patients on this single movement has profound clinical outcomes and empowers older adults to take charge of their own physical independence. Many of her patients who previously needed walkers have been able to transition back to walking independently with just a cane or no assisted device at all. To perform seated marching correctly and get the maximum benefit you want, to sit in a sturdy chair with your back straight and your feet flat on the floor about hip-width apart. Then slowly lift your right knee as high as you comfortably can while keeping your back straight and your core engaged. Hold it at the top for just 1 second, then lower it back down with control and repeat with your left leg. The educational key to making this exercise truly effective is to focus on lifting your knee high rather than fast. Because the strengthening benefit comes from working through the full range of motion, not from speed, you want to aim for 20 repetitions on each leg, which means 40 total marches. You should do this 2 to 3 times per day, ideally once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening to build a consistent routine. Many patients do their seated marching while watching television. This is perfectly fine because the exercise is gentle enough that it does not require your full concentration, but effective enough that it creates real, measurable changes in muscle strength and walking safety within just a few weeks. One of the most important educational tips for maximizing the benefits of seated marching is to gradually increase the hold time at the top of each march, starting with 1 second and working your way up to 3 or even 5 seconds over the course of several weeks. Because this extended hold dramatically increases the strengthening effect on your hip flexors and also improves the mind-muscle connection that helps you control your legs more precisely when walking. Another modification that can increase the effectiveness is to add a light ankle weight, starting with just 1 pound and gradually increasing to 2 or 3 pounds over time, but only do this after you have mastered the basic movement without weights and can comfortably perform 40 marches without feeling fatigued. As impressive as seated marching is, the next exercise delivers even more powerful benefits for your long-term mobility. Before we jump ahead, press that like button and subscribe so you are here for the next breakthrough tip. As impressive as seated marching is for your lower body, we must now address a completely different area of your physical health. That brings us to number 4 on our countdown, the wall push-up. This specific exercise addresses one of the most overlooked yet absolutely critical aspects of healthy aging that walking completely ignores, and that is your upper body strength. From an educational standpoint, there is a massive misconception in senior fitness. Most people assume that keeping legs strong is the only thing that matters for staying independent. But the medical evidence paints a drastically different picture. A landmark study conducted at Tufts University and published in the New England Journal of Medicine followed over 8,000 adults over the age of 75. What they found completely shattered conventional wisdom. Researchers discovered that upper body weakness was actually a stronger predictor of mortality and loss of independence than lower body weakness. Think about that for a moment. Adults over 75 with weak upper bodies were 3 times more likely to be unable to get up after a fall. They were 4 times more likely to struggle with essential daily tasks like opening jars or lifting grocery bags. Ultimately, this weakness made them significantly more likely to experience a cascade of declining health that led directly to nursing home placement. Walking simply does not prepare your upper body for the physical demands of daily life or emergency situations like catching yourself if you start to trip. This is exactly where the wall push-up comes in. Dr. Michael Torres, an orthopedic surgeon at the Mayo Clinic who specializes in arm injuries in older adults, explains that the wall push-up is the perfect upper body exercise. It provides all the functional strengthening benefits of a traditional push-up without putting dangerous stress on your fragile wrists, shoulders, or spine. When you perform a wall push-up correctly, you are actively strengthening your chest muscles, shoulder muscles, triceps, and most importantly, your core stabilizers. All these muscle groups work together to help you push yourself up from a lying position, giving you the power to brace yourself against an unexpected fall. Let us walk through the exact educational mechanics of how to perform this safely. Stand facing a sturdy wall at about arm's length distance. Place your palms flat against the wall at shoulder height and shoulder width apart. Slowly bend your elbows and lean your body toward the wall while keeping your back completely straight and your core tight. Lower yourself until your nose merely touches the wall, and then push back to the starting position with smooth control. The most common mistake people make is standing way too close to the wall, which makes the exercise too easy to provide any real strengthening benefit. You must make sure you are standing far enough away that you actually feel your muscles working hard, but not so far that you lose your form. Dr. Torres recommends starting with 2 sets of 10 wall push-ups per day, gradually increasing to 3 sets of 15 over 4 to 6 weeks. The educational secret to success here is your tempo. Your pace should be very slow, taking about 2 full seconds to lower yourself toward the wall and another 2 seconds to push back. This slow tempo maximizes muscle engagement and reduces joint strain. For an advanced tip that dramatically increases effectiveness, focus on squeezing your shoulder blades together at the bottom of each repetition. This actively engages the muscles of your upper back, which is critical for maintaining good posture and preventing that hunched forward position. As you get stronger, you can increase the difficulty by moving your feet farther from the wall or transitioning to a sturdy countertop. Before we move on to the third exercise, I want to hear from you. Have you ever tried wall push-ups before? Please leave a comment down below right now so we can discuss your experience. Now that we have covered upper body strength, we must address the exact opposite motion which targets something even more fundamental to your daily independence. This brings us to number 3 on our list: resistance band rows. From an educational perspective, this exercise is designed to target what physical therapists call the posterior chain. This chain includes all the vital muscles running along the back of your body from your neck down to your heels. Seeing older adults develop a hunched forward posture means you are witnessing the direct result of a severely weakened posterior chain. While walking is highly promoted, it remains strictly a forward motion. It continuously engages the front of your body while doing almost nothing to strengthen your back. Educationally speaking, this creates a severe muscle imbalance over time. A comprehensive Journal of Gerontology study examined over 15,000 adults over age 70. The researchers found that weakness in the posterior chain muscles was the single strongest predictor of forward stooped posture, chronic back pain, and difficulty with essential daily activities. These include reaching into cabinets, pulling open doors, and even taking deep breaths. Walking actually worsens the muscle imbalance that causes so many seniors to develop that hunched forward posture that makes them look and feel decades older than they actually are. Dr. Rebecca Martinez, an orthopedic spine surgeon at the Cleveland Clinic, explains that resistance band rows are her top prescription. She recommends this movement for any patient over 75 who complains of back pain, poor posture, or difficulty with reaching and pulling movements. She notes that clinical results are often dramatic within just 4 to 6 weeks of consistent practice. Educating patients about this movement gives them the power to actively correct the structural imbalances and reclaim their physical confidence. To perform a resistance band row correctly, you will need a basic resistance band with handles. These are accessible at any sporting goods store or online for under $15. Start with a light resistance band and gradually work your way up to medium resistance as your muscles grow stronger. Sit in a sturdy chair. Place the middle of the band securely under both feet and hold one handle in each hand with palms facing each other. Sit up very tall with your shoulders pulled back and your core fully engaged. Pull both handles toward your ribcage by bending your elbows and actively squeezing your shoulder blades together. Hold this contracted position for 1 full second at the top of the movement, then slowly return to the starting position with complete control. The educational key to making this exercise truly effective is establishing a strong mind-muscle connection. Focus on initiating the movement by squeezing your shoulder blades together rather than blindly pulling with your arms. This ensures you perfectly target the upper back muscles critical for spinal health. Dr. Martinez recommends performing 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions every other day. You must allow at least 1 full day of rest between sessions for your muscles to properly recover. One important tip for maximizing benefits is to avoid shrugging your shoulders up toward your ears during the pulling motion. This is a very common mistake that shifts the workload away from your upper back onto your fragile neck muscles, potentially causing severe strain and headaches. Consciously keep your shoulders down and away from your ears throughout the entire movement. Imagine you are tucking your shoulder blades into your back pockets as you pull the handles backward. Another modification that significantly increases effectiveness is adding a deliberate pause at the fully contracted position. Try holding for 2 to 3 seconds with your shoulder blades fully squeezed together before slowly releasing the tension. This extended contraction develops the long-lasting muscular endurance that translates to better upright posture throughout your entire day. Before we move on to the next exercise, I want to know about your routine. Please share in the comments below if you currently do any exercises for your back, or if your focus has been mainly on walking. The benefits of resistance band rows for your upper back are truly remarkable. However, we must now turn our attention to the lower half of your body for a movement that delivers something even more critical for your long-term safety. This brings us to number 2 on our countdown, which is the chair squat. From an educational standpoint, this specific exercise directly addresses what aging researchers have identified as the #1 functional limitation that leads to the loss of independence in older adults. That limitation is the inability to get up from a seated position without using your hands. Let me share a sobering scientific study to put this into clear perspective. A comprehensive study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology evaluated older adults and found a startling correlation. Individuals who could not rise from a seated position on the floor without using their hands for support had a mortality rate that was nearly 6 times higher over the following 6 years compared to those who could perform the task easily. While getting up from the floor is the most challenging version of this test, the ability to stand up from a normal chair without using your hands is the absolute medical baseline that every person over 75 should be working vigorously to maintain. Dr. James Patterson, an orthopedic surgeon at Duke University Medical Center, explains exactly why this movement is incredibly vital. He notes that chair squats build true functional independence by strengthening your quadriceps, your gluteal muscles, and your core stabilizers simultaneously. More importantly, they strengthen these muscles in the exact movement pattern that you must use dozens of times every single day, such as using dining chairs, toilets, or getting out of bed. Dr. Patterson emphasizes an educational reality that shocks many patients. Walking does almost nothing to build the specific strength needed for this upward movement. Walking uses your legs in a completely different mechanical way than the sit-to-stand motion. This perfectly explains why many avid walkers are frustrated to find they still struggle to get up from low sofas. To perform a chair squat correctly, you must start by standing in front of a sturdy chair that will not roll or slide. Position your feet about shoulder-width apart with your toes pointing slightly outward. Extend your arms straight out in front of you to serve as a counterbalance. Slowly lower yourself down until your buttocks just barely touch the seat of the chair. Pause in this position for 1 full second without actually sitting down and resting your weight. Finally, push firmly through your legs to stand back up to your starting position. The most important educational aspect of this exercise is the lowering phase. You must lower yourself very slowly, taking about 3 to 4 seconds to descend. This downward motion is called the eccentric phase, and, medically speaking, this is where the vast majority of your strengthening benefit occurs. Dr. Patterson recommends starting with 10 chair squats twice per day and gradually increasing to 15 or 20 repetitions as your legs get stronger. Most patients see massive improvements in their daily mobility within just 3 weeks of consistent practice. One crucial tip for maximizing the safety of chair squats is to make sure you are pushing your weight through your heels rather than your toes as you stand up. Pushing through your heels properly engages your gluteal muscles and takes dangerous stress off your fragile knee joints. Pushing through your toes can put you at a greater risk of losing your balance. If you find regular chair squats too challenging at first, you can easily modify them by placing a firm cushion on the seat to reduce the lowering distance. Chair squats will absolutely transform your functional independence, but the final exercise is even more powerful. Before we reveal the #1 exercise, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Chair squats will absolutely transform your functional independence, but the #1 exercise on this list is something far more powerful that you need to see. This brings us to the ultimate movement, #1, the single leg balance hold. The research supporting this specific exercise is so compelling that it has completely transformed how medical professionals approach fall prevention and longevity in older adults. From an educational standpoint, this is not just an exercise, it is a fundamental survival skill for the aging human body. A groundbreaking study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine followed over 1,700 adults over the age of 70 for 12 years, and they discovered something truly remarkable. They found that the inability to stand on one leg for just 10 seconds was associated with an 84% increased risk of death from any cause over the following decade. This makes this simple balance test one of the most powerful predictors of overall health and longevity ever discovered in aging research. It is a stark medical reality highlighting why we must fully educate ourselves beyond simply walking. Dr. William Chen, an orthopedic surgeon at UCSF Medical Center who has studied balance for over 20 years, explains exactly why walking is dangerously insufficient for fall prevention. When you walk, you almost always have at least one foot firmly planted, providing a continuous, stable base. Walking does almost nothing to train the small, vital stabilizer muscles in your ankles, knees, and hips. Life constantly presents challenging situations where you briefly have all your weight on one foot, like stepping over a curb or suddenly reaching for an object. These are precisely the moments when devastating falls occur. Practicing single-leg balance hold specifically educates those tiny stabilizer muscles to react instantly to unexpected physical challenges. To perform a single-leg balance hold safely, you must start in a highly secure environment. Stand next to a sturdy countertop or a heavy chair that you can instantly grab if you lose your footing. Shift your body weight entirely onto your right foot, then slowly lift your left foot slightly off the ground. Hold this position for as long as you possibly can while maintaining tall posture with your eyes looking straight ahead. When you first start practicing, you might only hold the position for a few seconds before needing support. Educationally speaking, this is completely normal and exactly where most people begin. The primary goal is to progressively educate your nervous system, gradually working toward 30 full seconds on each leg. Dr. Chen recommends practicing 3 times per day, ideally attaching it to established daily habits like brushing your teeth or waiting for your morning coffee. As you improve, challenge yourself by slowly removing the external support. Start with 2 fingers on the counter, progress to 1 finger, and eventually hover your hand. Once you comfortably master 30 seconds, introduce the most powerful modification, which is closing your eyes. Removing visual input forces your proprioceptive system, your internal sense of body position, to work much harder. Research clearly shows this is the most effective way to improve automatic balance reactions. To further elevate your balance education, practice on different physical surfaces as you advance. Start on a firm floor, progress to a carpeted area, and eventually stand on a folded towel. This purposeful variability effectively trains your central nervous system to adapt to highly unpredictable surfaces in the real world. Many orthopedic surgeons now consider this 10-second balance ability to be a critical vital sign of aging, just as important as blood pressure. Improving this metric through consistent practice is the single most effective thing you can do to protect your independence, dramatically reduce your risk of life-threatening falls, and confidently add vibrant years to your life. Let us review the complete picture. The 5 essential exercises we have covered today represent a massive educational shift in how medical professionals approach fitness for adults over 75. We are finally moving away from the outdated mindset that walking alone is enough. By incorporating seated marching, wall push-ups, resistance band rows, chair squats, and single-leg balance holds into your routine, you take complete control of your future. You are actively building a body that can avoid the devastating falls and fractures that frequently lead to nursing home placement. However, I must be perfectly clear about one vital medical point. These 5 movements are not meant to replace your daily walking routine. Walking remains fantastic for your cardiovascular health and mental well-being. You should absolutely keep walking. But from an educational standpoint, walking simply cannot touch the critical aspects of physical balance, upper body power, or upward mobility. That is precisely why orthopedic surgeons across the country prescribe these 5 movements as mandatory components of a healthy aging program. The greatest lesson here is that aging does not mean an inevitable decline in physical freedom. Your body retains an incredible capacity to rebuild strength and relearn balance at any age, provided you give it the correct educational stimulus. Start slowly, remain consistent, and watch your daily confidence transform. If you found this medical education valuable and want to continue discovering evidence-based strategies for staying strong and independent, please hit that subscribe button right now. Leave a comment below letting me know which of these exercises you will try first today. Finally, please like this video and share it with someone you care about to protect their mobility. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.